Thank you very much, Program Director. Your Excellency, Haile Mariam Desalegn, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and Chairperson of the African Union. Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government and Member States of the African Union. Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of the visiting countries. Your Excellencies, former African Heads of State and Government. Your Excellencies, members of the Executive Council of the African Union, Deputy Chair of the African Union Commission and Commissioners, Your Excellencies, former Secretaries General of the OAU and former chairs of the AU. Your Excellencies, Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, former Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellencies, heads of AU specialized organs and international agencies, members of the Permanent Representative Council of the African Union, heads of our regional economic communities, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, fellow Africans on the motherland and the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so pleased to add my voice in warmly welcoming Your Excellencies and all present to this commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Organization of African Unity and now the African Union. And of course, I look forward to the debate on this very critical theme, Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance. We committed ourselves to honor this historic commemoration by having celebrations that are memorable, that are across the globe, people-centered, and that will leave a long legacy. Part of that legacy is to reclaim the African narrative, the narrative of our past, present, and future, and to tell our own stories. Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, fellow Africans, the founders of the OAU followed in the footsteps of sisters and brothers taken and sold from African shores and through struggles broke the shackles of slavery. They followed in the footsteps of our people from across Africa, north to south, east, west, and central, that resisted colonialism and subjugation. They followed the declaration of independence of the first Black Republic of Haiti more than 200 years ago. Pan-Africanism united and inspired our people across the continent and globe never to accept oppression. There are few narratives that more evocatively capture Africa's past. As an extract from one of my best writers, Ben Okri, in his book, Infinite Riches. I will quote quite extensively from him. Quote, "It was indeed a splendid road. It had been built by the natives, supervised by the Governor General. He dreamt that on this road, all Africa's wealth, its gold and diamonds, and diverse mineral resources, its food, its energies, its labors, its intelligence would be transported to his land to enrich the lives of his people across the green ocean. Deep in his happy sleep, the Governor General dreamt of taking the golden stool of the Ashanti king, the thinking masks of Bamako, the storytelling rocks of Zimbabwe, the symphonic Victoria Falls, the shapely tusk of the Luo elephants, the slumbering trees of immemorial forests, the Langres River of Niger, the enduring pyramids of the Nile, all the deltas rich with oil, the mountains rifted with metals apocalyptic, the mines shimmering with gold, the ancestral hills of Kilimanjaro, the lexicon of African rituals, the enchanted hinterland of Africa's unconquerable spirits. He continues to say, he dreamt of taking Africa's timber-like men, their pomegranate women, their fertile sculptures, their plaintive songs, their spirit worlds, their forest animals, their sorceries, their myths, and their strong dances. He dreamt that the natives would transport all these resources, tangible and intangible, on their heads or on litters, walking on the great road in an orderly single file across the Atlantic Ocean for 3,000 miles. He dreamt of having all these riches transported to his land. Some of them would be locked up in air-conditioned basements for the benefit of Africa, because Africans did not know how to make the best use of them. And because his people could protect them better, he dreamt of having them in the basement of a great museum to be studied and to aid, in some obscure way, the progress of the human race. He dreamt of the great road on which all the fruits and riches of African lives would be directed towards sweetening the sleep of his good land. He did not dream of the hunger he would leave behind, close quote. Pan-Africanism and the dream of African Renaissance were in direct opposite of the dream represented by the Governor General. It was these contending dreams of the founders of Pan-Africanism of freedom, liberation, solidarity, self-determination, and independence that united and helped to defeat slavery, colonialism, and apartheid. Your Excellencies, today as we debate Pan-Africanism, 50 years after the OAU was formed, we have to ask some tough questions about our dream for Africa for the next 50 years and the Pan-Africanist values that continue to inspire us. In the Jubilee book that we distributed today, we have the speeches of the OAU founders in 1963 and statements from your Excellencies, our heads of state and government, in 2013, and how you see Africa's past, present, and future. Many of the themes we are concerned with today also occupied the OAU founders in 1963. Firstly, the founders saw their solidarity when they vowed that all of Africa shall be free, recognizing that they cannot be free when their brothers and sisters were still under the yoke of colonialism and apartheid. They therefore, in word and in deed, through support to the liberation movements and by advocating in international forums, fought for the total liberation of all Africans. Today, sometimes there is an impression that solidarity is a thing of the past. But even as we speak, Africans still show that solidarity. As we have witnessed in Somalia, when not so long ago the world gave up as a hopeless case. It was African sons and daughters who fought and laid their lives to create peace and keep peace, placing it onto the road to recovery. This is just but one example. There are many other examples on our continent of this solidarity. There is no greater example of solidarity than in the sacrifices of African peacekeepers across the continent. And I hope at some point, in not so distant a future, we will build a memorial in honor of all those who lost their lives from all over the continent. When we therefore talk about African solutions to African problems, it is because we know that we can only permanently silence the guns if we act in solidarity and in unity. Secondly, we have, with some notable exceptions, largely achieved self-determination. However, the self-reliance and economic independence that our founders spoke of remain a bit elusive, and social inequalities remain. The Pan-African commitment to independence and self-reliance remains important today as we seek to integrate, to expand, and modernize our infrastructure, to industrialize, to develop our human capital and our agriculture. Over the past 6 weeks, we've had different formations of our African citizens debating the theme and also discussing their vision of 2063. We've had women, we've had intellectuals, we've had writers, artists, youth, and I just want to say there is a lot of excitement on the continent and amongst our citizens. But yesterday, we listened to the youth, and I just want to share with you that the youth, but to be expected, is a bit impatient, is in a hurry. They were asking some of the presidents who were there, why aren't we having an African passport? What are you waiting for? Why aren't we integrating? Why are we still different small countries? When are we going to have this prosperity? Don't call us the future. We are the present, the youth said. So I just want to say, as we deliberate here, our citizens in all their formations are also deliberating. And I'd just like finally to quote yet another of our founders. Never before has unity of action been more desirable and urgent. Never before have nations faced such a challenging and splendid opportunity for concerted action. We must therefore renew the vision of Pan-Africanism and the ideal of African Renaissance to extricate ourselves from cynicism and fatalism. Africa must build confidence in itself and its ability and obligation to be the drivers of our destiny. The people of any civilization are its greatest resource, and if the collective mindset is attuned towards self-belief, solidarity, and self-reliance, then the civilization will triumph against all odds. Bonne fête à tout le monde. Thank you.